Hi, Shep Hiking here, excited for another look backstage with another all-access pass to the 50-year history of contemporary productions with Steve Shankman. Now, Steve, the Muny Opera is celebrating its 100th year anniversary. We're celebrating our 50th here. 100 years, one of the larger outdoor musical theater venues, and you started doing music in a different way at the Muny way back in 1984, I believe.
That's right. Well, they had done some concerts. I mean, like Herb Alpert had played there at a few concerts earlier on, but never a series. So what happened is I called there. I talked to Mr. Culver. He was the manager and general manager. I said, would you be interested in doing some concerts? Pretty well got shut down, and actually even ended up having a meeting with him and Robert Hyland. Robert F. Hyland, if you remember, was KMOX Radio, but had a lot of power in town because when you have the voice of the St. Louis, right? So when you have the voice of St. Louis, you could tell people we're not having concerts. So he was on the board and had a lot of pull. So we got turned down. And, you know, some people say, aren't you mad about it? I said, no, I'm not mad about it. I said, I don't like to burn bridges. And sure enough, a few years later, I get a call from Mr. Hyland. We'd like to have a meeting at the Bogey Country Club. Matter of fact, call over there and tell them what you want for lunch. So I called over there. I said, have some salmon and some bagels and cream cheese. I mean, I can have whatever you want, right? It was 11 o'clock meeting. So I get there. He says, would you like to sit in here? Or there was another table out on the veranda. So I said, I'll pick the veranda. So we sit out there, just the two of us, no one else around. And he says, we're interested in talking to you about a contract. Well, we created a contract and we started doing concerts. We called it Starfest, and it was Starfest 84. And we had some great acts. We had Sting, for example. We had Rod Stewart. I'll never forget Rod Stewart kicking those soccer balls off the front of the stage. We had Steve Miller, Whitney Houston. I'll never forget Al Jarreau with our own St. Louis David Sanborn on the show. And I mean, it was a great venue. We sold more beer at Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young than they sold in a 9-week season of regular book shows. Matter of fact, Mr. Culver, who always stood right by the backstage door, came over to me like this, almost like the Ed Sullivan looking. He said, we don't really like this clientele here. I said, your son has a 4th row ticket. I mean, it was different though. It was rock concerts and pop concerts, and we did it for several seasons. It was the precursor to building Riverport.
Wow, great story. Went from the Muny Opera with musical, Broadway musicals, Brigadoon, all the way to Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Yeah.
Great story. Well, I hope you enjoyed this backstage story. Come back next week for another all-access look into the history of contemporary productions.